it never dawned on me because there's so few people on the road. It's worse than a road closed. It's lots worse right now than the road closed. But, yeah, it never dawned on me that the police were out. I'm driving along. I was doing 130 on the highway, and there's a cop on the side of the road. I'm like, he's gonna pull me over. He never even looked. He looked at me and just. So I don't think they're in a big hurry to pull people over on the side of the road. Having said that, I don't think it's the Autobahn. I'm pretty sure if they have to pull you over, they will. But he didn't look too interested. He didn't look too interested in pulling me over. I know that. So I was not fined for speeding a moment ago. I don't know if I'm breaking the law right now. I'm looking ahead. I don't know. I think probably. So today, you guys heard my opening, and I try to be upbeat and optimistic. Obviously, there's a lot going on. What I should have led with was how well our horses in Australia are doing. And Australia is in a very similar situation. It was in the exact same situation as Mohawk before Mohawk closed. So I hope they continue on that situation because both our fillies are racing for $100,000 Australian dollars next week. I say that because with the world in turmoil and the gas prices plunging, I see the exchange rate is astronomically high in Canada. It's like $1.48 for a Canadian dollar to buy an American dollar, which is lunacy. And then the Australian dollar is even lower, much lower than Canadian, so 88 cents on the dollar. Nevertheless, we're still racing for good money. We're racing. How's that? We're racing. So, depending on the draw, I think Girl from Oz will be one of the favorites this week in the Gold Tiara, it's called, and Rockin' Down Under, who raced well also with a good draw. Who knows? She might throw in a great performance also. I like both these fillies. These were the two fillies we bought last year. Now, I'll start this little top 10 list off by saying the 4 horses we bought this year, we secured a quarter of all 4 horses purchased in Australia. I think it's worth mentioning off the top. I did not pick out any of these horses, although after looking at the videos, it was pretty clear I liked one of the War We Needy fillies. Darren McCall was completely enamored with the Always Be Mickey colt. And then I think the Sebastian K, obviously, I'm very high on the Sebastian K we have here this year, as we were very high on a number of them last year. They appeared to be doing well. It appeared to be a nice-looking filly also. A little small, a little toed out, and, of course, it was a $5,000 purchase, so not that shocking. Nevertheless, she's ours. We own a quarter of her. 2 War We Needy fillies. One was smaller and a little more compact. Looked a lot like Capistrano, and another one was bigger, a big giant War We Needy, and that one kind of looked like how War We Was Up is put together. So 2 good-looking War We Needy fillies, an Always Be Mickey colt, and a Sebastian K trotting filly. Now, the reason I brought it up again was they are all sold out, but I get the sense that there may be some shares left available in Australia on a couple of the horses. I would say 3 of them. I think the Always Be Mickey colt's locked in. Darren and his owners kept half. Daniel Cardina bought a quarter, and then our clients at thestable.ca bought a quarter. So the other 3 horses, although they're sold out in our site, if you ask, I can inquire. I believe there are a few shares left on the other side of the ocean that are able to be cleaned up. So the reason I'm so upbeat and optimistic during the zombie apocalypse is because we trained today. Training these babies always brings a smile to my face. It was a very, very good day. We had some very strong training trips out of some of the 2-year-olds. Most of the 2-year-olds that I was going with that needed some work, or I wanted to work with them this week, a couple of them 2 of them won their training sets and looked great. Looked very, very good. And a few more just need some polishing, like Brilliant Corners. This colt's got a ton of speed, but he's still quite a ways from being what I would consider even remotely polished up. We're going to continue to work with him this week and see if we can't get him under control. Nice colt. I think he's got lots to offer. How much, I don't know. but he's nowhere near his potential right now. Still some glaring errors in the overall game of Brilliant Corners, and I'll continue to work with him throughout the week. Other than that, I'm going to get right into it right now with our top 10 lists. Now, I have 2 top 10 lists for you today. The first top 10 list is top 10 list from today, Saturday, 21st or 22nd, whatever it is. The second one would be an overall top 10 list. Now, the reason being, it was necessitated again this week because Eternity Road finished third, I believe, in a big last half. Finished third in against 2 Pacers, but we had 8 sets. That means we have 8 winners, and we had a bunch of horses finish second, at least 8. So it was hard to put Eternity Road on the top 10 today, even though maybe overall he deserved to be. So that necessitated a second top 10 list again, because it's going to be tough to knock him out of the top 1, 2, or 3. Frilly Fringes took him out last week. I have a new leader this week, a horse that has been ultra consistent of the last month or 2. Just going by Mohawk, so weird. The last month or 2, this horse has been ultra consistent and was very, very good today. Frilly Fringes was second today, and Eternity Road was third. So overall, we have a new leader change, and we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm going to start first with today, with the newest. What are you doing? With the newest, the most up-to-date news of the day. The truck there, I just thought he was going to wheel right out in front of me. So, today we had 8 sets. We had rather larger sets today. It worked out well because we had a lot of our riders wanted to go with some horses. James and I had our sets kind of locked in. It just made sense. It was mathematically possible to have 8 sets today with a little bit larger, so we did. Now the horses that got castrated last week and the ones this week did not go, so there's 6 at least. Keystone Raven was off today because it looks like she kicked the wall and bruised her leg. Not a big deal there. She'll be fine, I suspect. So we're going to start with today's top 10 list. Number 10, he was second, closing in, but could not get to Braemar, and we were smoking the last 3/8 of the mile. And that is number 10, Beef and Cheddar. Beef and Cheddar was very, very good today. Danny just took him back, sat at the back, and it was charging at the wire, but we were smoking pretty good. And Beef and Cheddar was also, he is number 10 today. Did everything right, looked good, but finished second. Number 9 was another second place finisher, the number 1 overall last 2 weeks ago, or last week, Frilly Fringes. James went with Frilly Fringes today. I came first over with Northern Blizzard, cleared to the front, and it was a smoke show from then on in. Northern Blizzard was very good. Frilly Fringes was very good. Most everybody in that set was very good, but those 2 horses were 1, 2. Number 8, old Team Rolly. Let's Roll On was victorious in against some Pacers and Trotters today. James said he was much, much better. His confidence is growing. His gait is getting better. Even lost a shoe and still won the training set. Let's Roll On is number 8 today. Number 7 is a horse that we just switched over to a different side of the barn. He went from Mario's side over to James's side only because he's an Ohio bred and he was going to be in with the Ohio Caretakers because those horses that hopefully eventually will be going to Ohio. GW Chrome George, as we call him in the barn. George, poor George, went out on the track and his hobbles were a little tight, but I couldn't loosen them up anymore. So I said, George, you're going to have to muscle through it today, bud. He did. Came first over, drawing off winner, and looked very, very good doing it. GW Chrome, number 7, number 6. First time ever on the list, but man, she looked good today. Darling Please. Darling Please has been erratic. She steers a bit like a dump truck. She's not very big. She's not a big horse, but man, oh man, she can take up a lot of room on the track. And Darling Please sat quietly today, which was very impressive. Came first over quietly today, sat on the outside. I called on her coming out of the turn. Gonzo, she looked very, very good. So Darling Please, first time ever on the top 10 list, looked good today at number 6. Number 5, another horse that been in the top 10 a couple of times, but never this far up. Tanzanite Tricks. Mark Isabel went with Tanzanite Tricks today. Put her on the front end. Amy was flying on the end of it with the Glary M and made a break. Tanzanite Tricks, I don't know if she was gonna get Trixie or not, but Tanzanite Tricks held them off and was victorious. Gate to wire, as they say, all 3 laps, 1.5 miles today. Tanzanite Tricks was very strong and victorious today. Number 4 was the horse that I told you about earlier that I won the set with, Braemar. Braemar, still a little bit ignorant. I'm going to tell you, I'll be completely honest with you. I have stuck up for this horse's non-castration from day one. The blacksmith begged me. The vet begged me, please castrate this horse. He's so ignorant. On the track, he was fast. He's regally bred. I did not want to castrate him, and I still don't. But I'm telling you, he's getting close. He was so ignorant in the hole today, sitting in the 4-hole. When I went to move him, he tramped on James's wheel on the fender of the jog cart in front of him. He can be rude. He's a big, strong colt, and he's a bully. And I moved him over to the front, and they came to him in the last turn. I actually hit him a swat with the whip, and he drove on and drove away. Beef and Cheddar was coming to him, but we were still in hand, so to speak. And Braemar was very, very strong today, easily number 4. Number 3, a trotter that I've told everybody all along has had a ton of talent. Big colt, lots to offer, really strong, and although every time it seemed to come to drone day, he'd make breaks or get out of gear the last few weeks, and maybe more than a few weeks, and it's been extremely frustrating. So Northern Blizzard, I started going with this week. I went with him Wednesday. He was good. I went with him again today, and he was very good. Still has a little bit to learn about following. He was a little shy about being up on top of a horse in front of him. A little bit flighty at times. We'll put a martingale on him. But when I moved him over and let him trot to the front, he was very, very strong. Frilly Fringes can trot as fast on the end of it, I believe. Maybe only one horse can trot faster, and that's Eternity Road. And Frilly Fringes could not catch Northern Blizzard. We were really smoking on the end of it. Now Northern Blizzard got to the turn, got down in the deeper stuff, and made a break afterwards. But that was simply just speed related. It certainly had nothing to do with the mechanics. He was doing the best he could. I just put him in a bad spot and he made a break. But that was well after the 1.5 miles. He trotted perfectly. So Northern Blizzard was extremely good today. Number 2. Oh, I know why she's not number 1. Number 2 is a horse that's probably won her last 5 training sets and has looked absolutely tremendous in doing so. Today, I don't even think I needed a whip today. I really just had the whip turned around the whole way, letting her trot, and we come out of the last turn and she just took off. Was gone. I didn't even ask her. Won My Heart Hanover was absolutely phenomenal today. Few horses are as intelligent or as eager to do the work, but still disciplined and smart as this filly. When you're sitting behind her, she goes with a rather very low head, which isn't a great combo all the time. Horses with low heads are more apt to make a few mistakes sometimes and can get yourself in trouble, because when their head's down like that, sometimes it can be a little more to control them, harder to control them if they go to take off. This filly goes with a low head. She's very polite. When you move her over, she waits. She waits for you to ask her to go, and you only need to ask her once. Cleared off the lead easily, and then settled on the lead with that open bridle on. As soon as she saw somebody coming to her, she was starting to get a little eager, and I just gave her a little line coming out of the turn, and she was gone. Opened up and won the set very, very easily. A very, very impressive winner today was Won My Heart Hanover. And number 1, as is impressive as a lot of these horses were today, Won My Heart Hanover. Well, I can go through the list. All the horses that trained today, absolutely none of them were as impressive as I'm a Lovely Lady. I'm a Lovely Lady sat last. The reason I sat last, I was sitting last, and Mario moved his whip in front of me, and she threw her head and made a break. So going halfway through the first lap, I had spotted the field 10 lengths. I caught up easily because we were just, going a little bit faster than jogging speed the first lap. We started to pick up speed. We were going a mile in about 28. I sat last. I moved her over, going by the 5/8 pole in the last mile. And she blew by all the pacers and trotters that were in there, opened up 2 lengths, and finished very, very, very strong under the wire. I'm a Lovely Lady trotted a very, very good last half in a jog cart and showed exactly how talented she actually is. That was, easily the most impressive mile of the day. You couldn't watch the sets without immediately picking out who should be and would have been number 1 today. I'm a Lovely Lady although there were a lot of horses that were impressive today and some that were very close, not quite to where she was today. She was very, very good. So, the top 10 list is in. I knew she isn't on the top 10 all the time because she can be erratic, but man, oh man, she smoked into the top 10 today. Number 10, Beef and Cheddar. Number 9, Frilly Fringes. Number 8, Let's Roll On. Number 7 was GW Chrome. Number 6, first timer on the list, Darling Please. Number 5, Tanzanite Tricks. Number 4, Braemar. Number 3, Northern Blizzard. Been a while for him being on the list too. Number 2, Won My Heart Hanover with one of the most impressive miles of the day, but not the most impressive mile of the day. That easily went to I'm a Lovely Lady. So that's a top 10 list right now in real time. Best 10 horses from today's training sets. We are going to be doing the drone next week. Now, if you're in Ontario and you're worried about social distancing, you're worried about the coronavirus, you're worried about everything, you should. But at the same time, if you want to get out of the house, park up by the fence, stay in your car if you want, or get out and get some fresh air. Just stay away from everybody. There's lots of room up there, lots of places to watch the horses train. If you're a little worried or maybe you just don't want to come out, stay at home. We're going to do all the work for you. Going to be a drone next Saturday for the 2-year-olds, and I've been in talks with Curtis. I just have to talk to our trainers about doing a little drone day midweek for everybody with the 3-year-olds. So that's your top 10 list from today, Saturday, March 20-something, 2nd, 1st. Be back in just a second with another list, which is only fair to do your top 10 list overall. And it is only necessitated because Eternity Road didn't make the top 10 list today. Fair is fair. We'll be back in a minute with top 10 overall.